very much for being with me today. Saiyami Kher, Roshan, Anurag Kashyap, the brilliant joke that I've watched, and I hope a lot of people get to watch this soon. And I'm sure they'll enjoy it. It's witty, it's political, and it's hard hitting without the usual Anurag, like in your face.
Language
Yes, it's so
or blood.
light. It's so light. It's as we were saying, almost like a Sai Paranjpe movie, but just wonderfully done. And both of you are so good in it. So welcome. Um,
Thank you, ma'am.
Anurag, I'll take the
Thank
liberty
you.
of asking these two young people the first question because working with Anurag, passing through the Anurag Kashyap School of Filmmaking, which has produced such humongous stars, it can be quite unnerving. So, what was it like when you finally got to know that you were going to be in Choked? Sayami, you first.
So actually, this film, it's been a very long journey. Anurag Kashyap, the brand, Anurag Kashyap, the name, our generation has grown up watching his films, and
Absolutely.
I have admired his work. Be it Black Friday is probably my favorite Anurag Kashyap film, followed by TP.
अंकल बना दिया इसने, अंकल बना दिया 2 सेकंड में, मैं अंकल हो गया.
Uh, so these are films that we've all loved, and as an actor, it's always been a wish list, and been a dream to probably work with a few filmmakers, and his name is up there. So I think I've been very fortunate. Anurag sir actually met me randomly while I was watching films at Mami, and he asked me if I want to do a film, and that's when he sent me the script of Choked back in 2017.
Okay.
And it's been a long wait because he sent me the script. I loved the script. I was completely convinced, and then I said I really want to do this film. And ever since then, he said, "Ha, karenge," and then we had to wait for his schedule to kind of get free. So I went and nagged him on the sets of Sacred Games, Manmarzia, Love Story, Sacred Games 2. And finally, in 2018, Roshan came on board after Muthun, and he was our lucky mascot, and he got things moving a little quickly. But it's been surreal. It's been surreal where every time I watch the trailer and I see the maker of Gangs of Wasseypur, the Sacred Games, and to think that I've doing a film which is releasing with the same maker feels great.
Yeah, I think Gangs of Wasseypur is your generation's Godfather, right? I mean, that's the movie that all of you swear by. It's your Bible.
My
Uh,
undoing, yeah, my total undoing.
no, nothing like that. Roshan, you were associated with Muthon, and Anurag wrote the dialogues for that in Hindi. So you were somewhat, I guess, familiar with his, way of working. But still, what was it like when you got the call?
I was actually not familiar with his way of working or his person at all because I
Okay.
wasn't in the portions of Muthon that Anurag sir was actively involved
Oh
in.
yes,
I
because
didn't
you don't
have,
speak. You didn't have
yeah.
dialogue. Yeah.
Oh, and hello, you worked with Rajiv Ravi, who's like half of my work. My
Right.
body of work
Yeah, so
50%,
so
Rajiv
that's
Ravi,
there.
50%.
And
I'm saying
and
I'm always 50% work is my cinematographer,
Yeah.
who's like we are in a relationship.
Anurag, you're in a relationship with a lot of people. We'll come to that in a bit. Uh, Roshan, what was it like?
But yeah, I think after Muthon, the day I got a call, I think a day before I got the call from Anurag sir, Geetu had texted me saying Anurag watched you and he loved you, and that itself was enough. That itself for me was a lot of joy and happiness. Everything that
Right.
happened after that was really overwhelming. He called me up. He said he liked my performance. And within 5 minutes, he said he'll send me a script. I read it. I got back to him within 2 days. He said, "Chalo, let's shoot the movie next year, June, July." I hadn't even met him.
Wow.
So all of that was, yeah, it really felt like it was too good to be true. In fact, I was quite convinced that it wasn't actually going to happen. That was my way of preparing for it not happening, I guess. But yeah, 2 months later, I went and met him, and then exactly on the dates that he had mentioned in the first conversation that I had with him, the shoot happened. For me, the experience of doing the film with him and yeah, associating with him, living with him in his house, all of it has been nothing short of magical. In terms of work strictly, I come from theater. I started acting in plays, and I fell in love with acting when I was doing theater in Chennai. And the amount of exploration and improvisation and the luxury of time that we have when we make a play was something that I missed a lot when I started doing films. And once I started doing films, I wasn't doing as much theater as I would have liked to. In Choked, I found a lot of that again. Here, there was that amount of freedom. There was you always had the liberty to explore anything that you wanted to do or try out with your character was always an option. In fact, Anurag sir was most excited when you tried something that wasn't necessarily mentioned in the script or in the scene. So yeah, it for me it felt liberating. It was a lot more freedom than I had experienced with any of my other movies until then, and it was great.
Did you two do a lot of readings together, Saiyami and you?
Chup chup ke.
Yeah, chup chup ke twice. That's all. He didn't like us reading the script too much. In
Why?
fact, he doesn't believe in actors coming prepared with a
No,
plan for the
I
scene
have my
or
reasons and logic. You know,
Huh.
I'm saying, for example, suppose say I'm sitting here.
Yeah.
I'm right. I'm sitting here. Sitting here only. No,
Right.
I'm in this moment.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about कि मैं कल क्या सोच रहा था तो उसके हिसाब से आज मैं क्या सोच रहा हूँ.
Right.
I'm saying things don't work like that. I like people to be in the moment. If an actor is thinking about where is he coming from and where is he going, first thing is he's not supposed to know where is he going.
Right.
In life, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. हमें नहीं मालूम cyclone आएगा नहीं आएगा.
बिल्कुल.
Correct. So I want my actors to be in that moment. When they start thinking, it shows in their eyes. And the whole thing about filmmaking is sometimes we don't know the entire screen presence is right here.
Right.
So if you're not in that moment
Yeah.
and you're thinking ahead, it shows in the eyes. The camera you cannot lie to.
Right.
And what happens is a lot of people who don't understand this, they instinctively know something is wrong with the performance.
Right.
They can't point a finger at it. They just
Right.
think the actor's performance fake hai.
Huh.
I want my actors to be in that moment. It's my job to take care of their graph.
Right.
It's my job to take care of everything else.
Right.
But they have to be honest in the moment for that moment to become honest to me. So if I
Right.
need to find my truth, I want my actors to just be there.
Right.
In there. उसमें अगर slip up हो गया, dialogue गलत बोल दिया तो भी उस moment का है. It will
Right.
never sound incorrect. And I
Right.
always sometimes have used fumbles, I've used incorrect dialogues. I've let them be. I don't interchange that. But
You don't
I
do
only
too many takes? You don't
I
believe in
tried.
too many?
I don't believe in too many things. I only search for the truth. What
Right.
seems true to me, I will buy it and I will shut it. उसके बाद कुछ नहीं
Right.
चाहिए मुझे.
Saiyami, how different was it from Mirzia to Anurag, from Rakesh Om Prakash to Anurag?
So both, I've been very fortunate to work with two makers who I really like. So Rakesh sir's style of working is very, very different. With him, I had 6 months of auditioning and then 6 months of reading, 6 months of rehearsals and look tests. So before we started shooting, it was almost a year and 3 months where we were kind of prepping for the film. In that much time, I think Anurag Kashyap probably would have finished 13 films from start to end. So, their styles of working are very different, but I think at that point in my life when I was completely raw, new, probably that was a correct, and not correct, but it was a comfortable place to be in where we were so trained in certain ways. And then coming to Anurag sir, he said that jo bhi sikha hai sab kuch bhul ke aa jana. So his brief, don't come with any baggage at all. Just come on set and kind of, like he said, be in the moment. So with him, it was extremely exciting in a different way. One, because no one probably would have imagined me in the look that Sarita is in. So
Right.
for him to firstly cast me in that look in itself was somewhere, it kind of gave me confidence that probably he believes in my capabilities somewhere. And then when we went on set, he, like Roshan was saying, gives you the liberty to kind of just go on and on. Anurag Kashyap never calls cut. So the actors kind of keep going on until the AD comes and says, "Oh, we were done a long time ago." So the way he works is very different and very very exciting. So it's been very enjoyable, this whole experience.
So I can imagine the spats between you and Roshan must have continued, and you were still fighting, and Anurag was possibly laughing at both of you.
Yep,
That's
they
true.
did. They did.
That's exactly what happened.
That's
But very, very mischievous, huh? Because your
it's
fights
not
are so
mischievous.
intense.
I'm greedy. I'm not mischievous. I'm greedy. It's like I can only create from my experience and from my limited knowledge or brain or whatever. So what happens is when I open it up and allow other people to bring in what they can bring in, that's the extra that I get.
Right.
That's going that's going beyond my limited, whatever my limit is. My limit can be set anywhere. My limit probably
Right.
can be more than most people and less than somebody else.
Hmm.
But what they bring is always extra. That's why I let everybody be free. So on my set, everybody's making their own film, and that's why it becomes a film, and I get the credit for it. So I'm just a
Right.
greedy filmmaker, and I also think I'm like in that way you can call me a con job, that I get a lot of credit for a lot of things that is done by so many other people.
And I love the kid,
If I can
I
just
mean,
add, if I can just
yeah,
add there, I was discussing this with another friend of mine very recently. One of my favorite scenes from an Anurag Kashyap film is the police scene in Ugly, when they just
right.
go on and on
Yeah.
and on. The actors just go on and on and on. So when
That
I
was first
watched
day.
it for this first time, I was in splits because it was just so spontaneous and it was all so real. And later, when I worked with him, I realized where this came from, how the scene probably must have happened, and it made sense to me after I worked with him.
But the kid is just so marvelous, Anurag. I want to ask you, where did you find him? And he just seems to be Roshan and Saiyami's child. But again, a wonderful kid, yeah. Not your
That was
typical child actor.
he was found in the screen test.
Okay,
Gautam Kishan Chandani, he's been casting since Black Friday. I mean,
right,
he's such an amazing casting director. So he's the one. Him and Shivam Gupta, they're the ones who found the child. Matlab,
right,
even including Amrita Subhash, who I've worked with before,
right.
came through the screen test. I did not want Amrita Subhash in my film.
Okay.
I
You
just
didn't
didn't
want
want
the
her.
usual.
No, not that, just that. Like I've worked with her. I've worked with her in
Right,
Raman Raghav in Sacred Games, and
right.
I even told her, don't audition for it. I was like, when you work with new people, you also
Yeah,
grow.
yeah,
You also learn new things. But
right.
she's like, I will come and surprise you. She keeps throwing challenges at me. She says, "तू मुझसे भाग नहीं सकता. मैं करके दिखाती हूँ."
But
And
she
and
is
she
good.
bulldozed her way into it, and she's so good.
Again, I think Rajshri Deshpande is another person who must have bulldozed her way through into
Could
the
be.
movie.
There's no role. There's no role. She created that role, and I'll tell you the
Right.
backstory of it, which is so funny. So
Huh.
Rajshri said that I will come into the film. I said, "रोल नहीं, छोटा सा रोल है. मैं कुछ भी करूंगी. मुझे वॉचमैन बना दो." तो and she came into the film, and after she came into the film, she says, "Amrita Subhash is playing a woman who's never married. Why is she not married?" So
Hmm.
I said, "I don't know. Ask the writer." She said, "I'll tell you why she's not married." So she said,
Huh.
"She's been having an affair with a married woman like me whose husband is never there." So I told Rashri, I said, Rashri, the film is about Sarita and Sushant. He says, background में चलेगा, किसी को पता नहीं चलेगा. But in my head, I'm having an affair with
Acha.
Amrita, and we are
Wow.
in love. And they created their own story in the background in
Oh,
the entire film. So now when you know this and watch the film with this perspective, you'll see that
yeah.
constantly at something.
Right.
So they made their own
Good.
story, and they were so secure, and they also have so much love for me. They created the story. I'm happy to keep this story in the background and not let it come in the forefront at all.
Yeah, that could have become the dominant story, actually. You never know. But, Anurag, the other thing that, there was a time when our main characters were from everywhere, but also from nowhere. Now,
Yeah.
each of them has a zip code, has a geography, has a history. And of course, you've done a lot to do that. But this time, I think the fact that you were very conscious that you had a migrant from South India, you had Sayami who's coming from another part of
Well, one
Maharashtra.
journey is Tamil Nadu to Bangalore to Mumbai, another journey is Konkan to Bangalore to Mumbai.
Exactly. Now, that was again quite fascinating. Talk a little about why that was so important for this.
Because see, for me, it's like I was telling somebody else also. If suppose this film was set in a small town in UP, they probably wouldn't be from South India or not be migrants because then that's not so common. But Bombay being a melting pot
Yeah,
of migrants from across the country, and in the film
and
business,
we've seen
people
that.
don't come. Huh? Yeah,
We've
I've
seen
seen
that
that.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we have seen that now.
yeah,
And especially in the film business. So if Sarita and Sushant are in the music,
right,
so they came to be part of Hindi film industry,
right,
right? People don't come from Chennai and Hyderabad to be part of Hindi film industry as much as they come from Bangalore,
right.
because both Telugu film industry and Tamil film industry are very healthy film industries.
Hmm.
A lot of migrants from Kerala don't come to Mumbai; they often go to Middle East.
Yes,
I'm saying there's a
there's
geographical
a
way of how
pattern.
people
Yeah,
pattern.
yeah,
But the number of people from Bangalore that you will find in Bombay is immense. So my
right,
whole thing was very clear. They come from Bangalore, and I wanted them to. Why were they in Bangalore? If she's Konkani and she's, it was because of music,
right.
and that came in because before I saw Muthon, in my head, my first person that I went to for the role was Raghu Dikshit, the singer, the musician,
Right,
and he
right,
lived in Bangalore. So Bangalore was stuck in my head, and a
right,
lot of musicians come from Bangalore. So
right,
it became stuck in my head. So when he came aboard, and he being from Kochi and he's a Malayali, I said, "You're from Bangalore," and he knew Tamil and he did not know Kannada.
right.
Correct, no?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So then we made him a Tamilian who came to Bangalore and then came to Mumbai
right,
because I didn't want to use. If he could speak Kannada, then it would have been he was a Bangalore person coming here. But
right,
I did not want him to play a Malayali.
right. Because he would have then possibly gone to the Gulf. So, Roshan, why didn't you go to the Gulf?
I found Sarita in Bangalore, and Sarita thought it made sense to come to Bombay. It
You
was
know
all
that.
her fault.
I think this is something Anurag has also talked about earlier. That although you two are constantly fighting, there's also a lot of love between you. Yeah. I mean, uh, the absence of love is very palpable, but it's not been replaced by hate.
He's not
You
looking
know,
at another woman and she's not looking at another man.
exactly.
That's not
It's so
there.
nice.
Yeah.
Isn't that so? It's such a pure relationship in that sense.
It's just
I
a
mean,
marriage in a coma, but they're still not looking to get out or go away. They're like happily go away and like leave me alone. But
right,
they're not looking at other people for love or validation
right,
or anything like that.
right. So
What
that's how
really
that.
appealed to me actually was, the film. Throughout the film, she is bickering, she's fighting, she's mean, sarcastic to Sushant. Throughout the film, the marriage is bitter, but the film culminates with, her breaking down to him and
Yeah,
then finding themselves back together. So in times of dire crisis, that's where she went. So clearly, the love was always there, but there was just so many layers of so many other complications over the love.
right. And Roshan, how did you feel about your character? Because she's constantly telling you where you're wrong, and
Yeah.
secretly you're trying to do things for her. But it's just that,
Yeah.
as they say, "Tumhara bad luck hi kharab hai."
Yeah, so Shant, for me again, with the relationship that they have and Sushant's overall story, I guess, in the movie was very important for me to understand where they began.
Right,
And when they first met, or when they first got together, even when they decided to get married, he would have been so sure that both of them were going to make it.
yeah,
And he would have probably come from a circle of people around him telling him, "Bhai, tera to sure hai. You just go
right,
to Bombay and they're just going to scoop you up and you're going to have the life that you've dreamt of, maybe even more." So none of that worked out for him. His worst possible nightmare became his reality. And that sort of thing really brings out the worst in a person. So right when we see him, he is at his most insecure. He's
yeah,
at his most suspicious, defeated self. But the only good thing that actually remains in his life is the love that he has for his wife and his kid. It's just that all of these other things are so strong that it gets in the way of that as well. But it's not like the love has disappeared. So yeah, that
Anurag,
that
for
was.
you, you've dealt with so many people in that space, people who've been struggling, as they say, forever. And then suddenly something happens and, they make it finally. Um, what is that space like for you? You become almost like a counselor, a mentor, a father figure, and you've been
Style.
that for so many people.
Yeah. I like, it depends. Like there are a lot of people that I will always pick up the phone off
Right,
because I know they won't exhaust me.
right,
So it's all see, and I'm there for people. So sometimes I have to be mentally ready to deal with a person who I know will exhaust me. There are people like that
right,
they will say something and I will tell them what's the right thing to do, but they will go on and on and on, and then it becomes exhausting.
right,
But most people are not. Most of my people are not exhausting. Most of my people are actually, they'll call me for an advice. They'll listen. I'll tell them. I only tell them stories and experiences because
right,
I've seen actors succeed. I've seen people succeed and fail. I've seen
right,
people not being able to handle success. I've seen so many careers going down the drain, great careers. I've seen so many people not as talented but rise only because of the person that they were and
right,
human beings that they were. So I have stories of, like, years I've been here, 27, 28 years. I can tell stories
right,
to people and give example to them that don't do this mistake. And
right.
some people understand and some exhaust me. And yes, I'm tired of being Chachaji and counselor because everybody, I'm teddy bear, Chachaji, like Tapsi and Vicky Kaushal, everybody call me Chachaji. And a lot of people, for them, I'm uncle, I'm teddy bear. And the worst thing is, worst thing you can tell a man, he's so sweet and so nice and I trust him so much. I want to create mistrust in someone. I want somebody to be like scared of me and be like, ये आदमी के presence में मैं थोड़ा edgy हो जाता हूँ. There's no sexual tension around me with anybody.
No, it is not possible. Especially now that you've found your funny bone, without that violent streak. Tell me
Yeah.
a little about the humor in the film. It's so
I'll,
funny.
I, I can't live without humor. I crack the worst jokes every day of the, and they're witness to it. I crack worst jokes. And sometimes while cracking worst jokes, something clicks. And I put that
Huh,
in the film. So the thing is, but I find humor in mundane. I find humor
right,
in everyday things. So that's
right,
where humor comes from.
right,
The humor comes from mundane. And also, like Nihit Bhave, he also has this very strange sense of humor. Like a line like, अभी आलू को आलू ही खिलाऊंगी ना, पनीर खाना है तो
I
पनीर बना.
love that.
No, I'm saying I I will can't write that line because I will not find that funny. But it's such a
Right.
funny line, just the way
Abs-
it's spoken and in the situation that it is spoken in
the context.
context of it. मतलब, and literally when I was shooting the film and then when we were putting the film together, and I thought अगर ये पनीर के बजाय मशरूम होता, क्योंकि उधर मशरूम की बात हो रही है,
हाँ, और
and
यहाँ
मशरूम
but
का
वो Taiwanese mushroom है अनुराग.
और
फर्क
ताइवानीज
है.
मशरूम. मतलब अगर वो
Indian
ऐसा बोलता
mushroom
कि क्या रोज आलू खिलाती हो, मशरूम मशरूम खिलाया करो कभी, ऐसी से मशरूम खाना है तो मशरूम बनो, वो भी फनी हो सकता था.
but in fact, that is one of the funniest lines in the film, and it's such a politically loaded comment. And Roshan, I just wanted to ask you, what was it like playing a Modi fan? Did it go against the grain?
It was exciting. It always helps to get something to play that immediately separates the character from who you are, and the circle that you mingle with, the conversations that you
Yeah,
always
I
have
can
in
imagine.
in in one click. He's a completely different person, right? Because otherwise
Right.
there are so many similarities.
Yeah.
Sushant is an artist who wants to make it as a musician. He's migrated from south to Bombay. There are too many of them. So it's always great to have one of those, and especially in a set like this, especially with a director like him, there's
Roshan, you'll go
there's a
very
lot
far.
of
That was a very diplomatic way of answering a very tricky question. Good on you.
Maybe,
So
but
I'm glad that he's not learnt his political incorrectness from you, Anurag.
no, nobody has.
But
That's
Anurag,
not easy to pick up.
I wanted to ask you, what is it like creating an alternative? Well, I would say actually, the new star system in a way, because we are creating a new generation of stars, and you've already created a new generation of stars. All of streaming is, people who've worked with you, who've come through your movies. So, what is it like creating this? Does it make you feel happy? Because for the longest time, didn't have enough stars, didn't we?
It's like sometimes, I didn't realize I was creating something.
Yeah,
My simple reason I like to work with new people, I don't want complications on my set.
right.
So if somebody carries a lot of baggage and has problems, who's constantly seeking attention, validation, I stay away from those actors. I
Hmm.
literally stay away. There's so many good actors I know. The reason I would not work with them is because I don't have the patience to deal with the constant insecurity that they
Right.
carry. Or I need actors who trust me.
Hmm.
So, and another reason for me casting newcomers is very different. I started shooting with no budgets.
Right.
So I had no money. So I would shoot on the street. So when I shoot on the street, I want to work with somebody who doesn't get recognized.
Right.
So I can shoot easily.
Right.
So my reason to cast newcomers is that I want good actors who are not recognized.
Right.
The moment they start getting recognized, I can't work with a Nawazuddin
Right.
anymore. Until unless it's a film where it is contained in secured
Right.
locations. So I
Right.
need to work with actors who are not recognized so I can get my simple shots which look lively and which look real and authentic and shot in the city or in the milieu.
Right.
So, but in the process, people kept finding their way and getting famous, and then I kept walking away from them and kept finding newer people because I need to make my films my way. But
Right.
in the process, yes, it does make me feel good that I look back and I say, okay, I made good choices of people because they all
Right.
made a great career for themselves.
Right.
So, and so most of the time, some of them call me for advice and all that. But after a point, they stop calling me, and it's okay. It's good
Yeah.
because for me, it's okay. Somebody's found their way, and I like people to be independent. So my
Right.
assistants also, when they direct, I push them to go out and do it on their own and be independent
Right. So,
because
yeah.
I
Sorry.
I hate playing the Godfather.
Ah.
It's tiring.
Yeah, but people come back to you again and again, and they want all that from you. Just the last bit, because I believe we're running out of time. What would your advice to Roshan be, Anurag, as he looks to a career, I suppose, in the movies on a bigger scale?
He has to figure it out. Roshan has to
Huh.
figure it out. So, Saiyami, I think, would have it much easier than Roshan.
Why is that?
I'm saying it that because see, Roshan in Kerala, he's grown up in a kind of a film culture and a culture of art where you make choices on the basis of its appeal in an intellectual, social way, but not in
Right.
a populist way.
Right.
Because you also feel like that. But at the same time, it comes with its own complications.
Hmm.
It does not come with the benefit of what the populist choices come with.
Right.
So I'm saying when you make a populist choices, it has a different benefit. So when
Hmm.
you're making artistic choices, will not come with the benefits that come with the populist choices. So
Right.
as an actor, every actor I've seen that comes to that stage, which will happen with Roshan more than Saiyami, is he will make artistic choices, and he will want those populist benefits also around him.
Right.
But they never come together. So he has to keep that in mind and learn that. It is the same
Right.
thing. I've seen a lot of people like the greatest example being Abhay
Right.
Deol.
Oh yes.
He wanted
What a
to make
fantastic
certain
actor. Yeah.
brilliant actor, wanted to make artistic films, but wanted the benefits of the populist
Right.
actors,
Right.
right? And wanted, it's like I'm very comfortable if somebody says, you know, people do very unfair comparisons. Like say they'll compare me with a Rohit Shetty. I said
Right.
Rohit Shetty generates money.
Right.
He makes the kind of a film that generates money, so he
Yeah.
deserves the kind of price he gets.
Right.
I am happy that I get to make the film my way with
Yeah.
my choice of actors. That's my benefit.
That's your benefit. Yeah.
If I start seeking Rohit Shetty's benefit of like, I want a feast like that and I want a lifestyle like that, then the problem is not Rohit Shetty or anything, the problem is me.
Right.
I think those are the things that you have to understand. And
So Roshan,
Roshan,
I
I know,
hope
has
you're.
artist alive in him. Roshan has a strong art. And Saiyami
Right.
can strike the balance also because she has a family around her
Yeah.
who has experience enough to
Right.
give her correct advice.
Right.
And so she fights that